Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Kuro Tab, which is being made by user Kuro Hux. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is a simply gigantic number of new workshop items for you to play with. And it is a truly massive number of things in the hundreds. And it's adding in everything from retextures of existing structural pieces to new handmade signs, scrap elements, furniture, and just all sorts of crazy, wacky, and wonderful things to build with. So let's take a look at what we do get. So let's head into the workshop mode. And at this point, I should mention that this does have the requirement of the settlement menu manager, so that it does add in a new tab down here, which is the Kuro Tab. And this is where everything is organized for this mod. If we head in, you'll notice we have the structural Kuro Tab area, decorative, furniture, and then finally utility. Now in structural, we'll start there. Now I'm going to say right off the bat here, we're not going to look at everything in depth because again, this is literally hundreds of items. It would take like an hour to do that. So we're just kind of go through things pretty quick. Now in structural, we have the wood category first, and these are all retextures of existing structural pieces in various textures. We have a partially sanded wood, moldy wood, dark gray wood, blue painted wood, blue and white painted wood, gray and white, red painted, red and white painted, light gray painted, and so forth and so on in all sorts of numbered variants, as you can see, going on for a long time, and it's still going. And there we are with the end of the wood bits. And just quickly, I'm gonna run over here to take a just quick gander at what some of these look like. Again, just look at all the different variants we have here. There are just a huge number of them, and they have a lot of good textures to them, from the plain to the more interesting with stars and stripes and diamonds and multicolored things. You have a whole lot of customization that you can do now with just a simple wooden wall between all the different color variants you now have available, which is pretty cool. Now the next thing we have in here is the partially sanded frames, which are a number of different wall frame elements that look a bit rough and partially sanded. As you can see, we have all different sorts of structural shapes for you to build homes that, well, don't quite have wall colorings, but you can kind of pretend it's, you know, construction in the process of being made. It is quite nice, and even, of course, some prefabs in here, and then a lot of different retextures for beams. Very nice to have all these, adding in a whole lot of fun new detail. Now, the next category that we have here is the miscellaneous wood pieces, adding in just a lot of nice, like, floor pieces, little wall pieces, fun little short railings, and all sorts of things like that. Again, just adding in a whole lot of new variation to parts that we had before, but now giving you a lot more interesting options. And as you can see, it just keeps going. Even fun little bridges and mounted wooden things. It's just great. A huge list of fun new items. Now next in structural, we have the metal retextures, which again is a similar thing. We have all sorts of different metal walls and all the different sizes and shapes and just different varieties of constructible materials in a scrap metal 1, 2, rusted metal, red metal, blue metal, gun metal, and corrugated paneling metal, all for you to enjoy. And then, as you can see here with like the corrugated, it then has subclassifications of navy blue corrugated, black corrugated, orange corrugated, red corrugated, and patchwork yellow corrugated panels. Again, just adding in a lot of fun variation. We then have chain-linked fences here, which is pretty fun, which of course not just fences but also floors. Again, it's all the same structural pieces you can build with, of just straight walls, curved pieces, fun little arches, textures, but this time in chain link, which is pretty cool, adding a whole new different aesthetic, and of course being able to use it to make all sorts of tunnels and bridges and walls and just whatever your heart desires in all these great chain link varieties. Now we then have a frame only section, which just adds in a different variety of frames, as we have here a standard frame, we have a reddish frame, we have a rusty gray frame, military green frame, tan frame, and older dark frame. And again, these are sort of the same structural pieces you find with all the other elements, but without any sort of texture over the top. It's simply the frame. And it's just, again, another interesting aesthetic look. And then in the last bit here, we have industrial catwalks, which are pretty fun. I placed down one right here. We either have the dark catwalks, the wood panels, graded wood panels, or just some beams that you can throw in there for a fun decoration, structural building, etc. A lot of good options, and great to have to just make all sorts of crazy, wacky, wonderful things. Look at all those great I-beams. And it keeps going and going, and notice how big some of these pieces are. You'll see other gigantic pieces later on. Oh my. And of course, just to show you the different catwalks here, just to sort of go through the different structural pieces you have available to build with, a pretty good selection, which is always nice. A lot of good options. But let's back out and then head down to the plastic textures. And again, this is like with all the other structural bits that we have, but these ones are covered in plastic. And I'm actually going to head back over here because I have two of the plastic types here, which we do have available. We either have the patched sheeting or the corrugated plastic sheeting. Now, the patch sheeting looks like this, where it's basically just, you know, plastic that's been taped together, or more intact corrugated plastic. Both of them, though, are see-through and really make for some cool greenhouses with all the structural pieces, as of course, again, you have all the same structural pieces you can build with, which is wonderful. All of them having that see-through plastic. Again, a fun aesthetic to work with. We then have a number of bits of tarpaulin and mesh for you to play with as well. A lot of roofs, wall pieces, fun little tarp tents, tarp railings, etc. Just again, a lot of different decorative pieces for you to use, including things like these bridges. Again, just fun aesthetic use. And then we have an orange construction mesh instead of just the normal tarpaulin, which is quite cool, and I like just the different sort of pop it gives, especially with the blue tarpaulin to then have like this you know, orange construction mesh there. I do like that color difference, but all the same parts, of course, as with the just regular blue tarpaulin over there, but just in construction mesh. Now then, after that, we have starter structures. I really like these things. They're pretty cool. They're just pre-built things for you to build, such as this awesome RV that comes fully furnished. A lovely little bus stop shanty. I don't know why that was a tongue twister for me. Another kind of bus stop shanty. And then some shipping container shops. God, a lot of tongue twisters for this for me for some reason. Another one right here. Just half a shipping container, empty. Nice little chunk of piping you could build in. And quarry elevator frames for you to build. And again, just gigantic metal items to have fun with. And just to take a look at the inside of one of them, I got one of the bus stop shanties right here. And this is the pre-built little structure. Very nice inside, a lot of good detailing. I very much enjoy it. It is a fun little addition. Now the next thing we have is doors, and well, it's a lot of different doors, just in all sorts of different textures, which is great, again, to have more variation. A lot of good wood and metal textures, very much fitting in with the post-apocalypse. We then have walls, and oh boy, a lot of walls. We have this wall here, this wall here, this wall here. A lot more walls, and yeah, just kind of keep on going. All sorts of shack walls for you to play with in just a variety of different textures. Again, letting you build with more different aesthetics. I gotta admit, some of them I don't care for too much because they seem a bit too clean for the post-apocalypse, but some like this. Oh my, imagine building your wall defenses for your settlement out of one of these things. Or that. It's great. And then after that, we have the post beams and supports. Again, just a number of different beams and supports for you to use in your construction in a variety of different textures, from metal piping, wood piping, more I-beams, and yeah, even more I-beams. Look at it go. Look at all those different I-beams. And yeah, just a great, wonderful, gigantic selection. And it just keeps going and going and going and going. As you can see, it just keeps going. This is why I said we can't really look in depth at all of these, because, oh my god, it just keeps going. There's hundreds upon hundreds of things in this beautiful, beautiful mod. In fact, so many. There we go. We finally met the pole base at the end there. We then have junk walls, which I love because I've always been annoyed by the lack of diversity in the existing junk walls. And, you know, again, it's sort of retextures of those junk walls, but in more different variety. The partially sanded, moldy junk walls, dark gray junk walls, distressed greenish junk walls, light gray junk walls, old glory junk walls, rainbow colored junk walls, and then, of course, miscellaneous junk wall and scrap, which I actually like this quite a bit. You can build all sorts of, you know, just sort of thrown together defenses made of all sorts of things. It's wonderful. Just a lot, again, good selection in here, including some nice supports, wall bits, little large highway partitions. Again, fun for building your settlement defenses out of that. Then next we have the platforms, panels, and pathways, which again, just a nice variety of different textures of pathways for you to use. These ones very much, I think, fitting in with the post-apocalyptic aesthetic here. A lot of good different rusty things. Very nice indeed. And again, just keeps going. So many things. You can build just really whatever you want with this darn stuff. And finally, we have the miscellaneous category in here, where we have some fun arches, large structural piping things, fun little conduit arches, and just other types of arches, wooden archways, lots of archways, fun little pallet partitions, metal fencing, and again, your options just keep going. All sorts of trellises to make, you know, your own baseball stadium or something. All sorts of stairs, roofs, pipings for you to use, and it just goes on and on and on and on and on, including these large bowl things, which, I don't know, but it's interesting. And then after the structural, oh god, we're just out of structural, we have decorative, where we have a load of signs, which the signs are then made into different categories. We have signage, wall art, decals, graffiti, floor coverings, garden, and then clutter and miscellaneous. Again, we're going to go through these a bit more quickly, because again, just a whole lot of signs. We have subcategories in here for signage. We have the plywood retextures of just all sorts of fun things for you to play with here. And I'm just going to back out because this goes on for a while. We then have ads and posters, which is fun. A lot of good stuff in here. Not as many, though. As you can see, we do kind of end right there, but nice big signs. Then in road sign retextures, just a large number of different road signs, including arrows and all sorts of things for you to mess around with. And again, it goes on for a while. So let's back out to the next category, highway signs. Now, all of these are just blank highway signs and also some textured ones in here, just adding in all sorts of things for you to use. So here are the blank ones for you to then kind of create your own, and then these old distressed ones. We then have the sign backings, and these are all just, you know, blank signs really for you to then create your own with, which is quite nice. And then finally, the miscellaneous ones. Just a lot of fun little signs for you to place around the world with all sorts of things. And look at it keep on going. So we're going to back out and go to wall art, where we have just a number of fun wall art pieces. Very nice there for anything to put on your walls. Decal and graffiti. A lot of options here again. Oh boy. They are decals, so they do go on top of other things. So it's kind of hard to see them here. But again, we have a large number of them for you to really do whatever you want with, which is wonderful. Backing out, though, and going to floor coverings, a number of just rugs, just a couple, not many. I like the Minutemen one. We then have garden items, I think are some of my favorite things in this mod, because it's just fun garden things, including this one that's on the back of back of a basketball hoop. That's great. Now, they don't actually do anything. They don't produce food, but they just look good. And, you know, it makes it so you can actually build some more interesting farms, which is pretty nice. I really do like them. Purely decorative, but entertaining. And then we have a number of clutter items from books, pillows, towels, and sheets, bottles, tires, barrels, ladders, mines. Again, that don't actually do anything. They're purely aesthetic, but hey, if you want to scare the crap out of someone, there are mines and ammunition and all sorts of things. Random machinery, cords, cables, and wires, and miscellaneous clutter. Didn't want to go through all those individual categories because, again, there's just a huge number of things, but you get the idea from what they are. You know, if you want some machinery, boom, machinery. There you go. And then after clutter items, we have miscellaneous, where we have nothing really matters. Mattresses, this lovely manhole cover, and just a number of other fun items. And it just kind of keeps going, including these fun banners. Isn't it wonderful? A lot of Minutemen stuff in here too, which is good, and all these fun curtains, and there we go. Now next is furniture. Oh god, we're getting through it, Where we have a couple of beds, not many, but you know, hey, fun, including this one with stuff written on it, the nothing really matters. That one being on the floor this time. A couple of new chairs, not a whole lot of furniture here, but some fun things. Some tables, where we have a lot of different textures of a wooden spool. I really like this one with all the books, very nice. And some nice tire tables and just all sorts of things there. We then have shelving and storage. And again, just a lot of nice different new pieces. Some, again, I wish I was a little bit more distressed, but I guess, you know, maybe you could say they were pulled out of a vault or something along those lines. Oh, that one's a good one. I like that. You could build your own archive. It'd be wonderful. And then in the kitchen, just again, some nice kitchen items. Very nice. Then the bathroom, some nice bathroom items. I really like that one. Falling material. Oh, it's fun. And then in miscellaneous, just a number of dirty hampers, fires, and just random things for you to enjoy there. And then finally, we have the utility category, where we have crafting, which is split into either the power armor stations, where we have some nice custom paint jobbed ones, which is always fun. So you can have a nice looking military one, the flames and all that, very cool. The oh my god, why am I suddenly blanking on the name of those people? The cats people. I don't remember. But yeah, some fun power armor things. A weapon workbench, which is just a weapon workbench. And then finally we have resources and some cool stuff in here. Water supply, just some fun, nice things for more water for your community. Some really interesting ones. I really like that one, which is quite cool. Some large filter rain catchers. And then these fun makeshift groundwater filters. Very cool. And of course, as you can see, do produce some things. That one doesn't. That one's just purely for looks. But this one will. And yeah, we then have defense, some fun defensive items here, just some nice little defensive tower, and sandbags, which are a little bit cheaty in my opinion. They just add 6 defense and no resources to use. Cheaty. Which is why they're also in this category here. You shouldn't cheat, folks. Where it has the water bucket, which also produces 6 water for that, and then the 6 defense on that. They're cheaty items, but hey, he says it, so there we go. And yeah, that is actually all the parts. Oh my god, it's a lot of things, but you can build so much with them. Like I said, I love the garden items. I love the plastic structure items. Very cool. The water items are great. We can't use it at that time, apparently. A lot of just fun bits to play around with. Some good structural, or pre-made structures, rather. Loads of different retextures of wood. And, you know, those nice little defensive things. I actually really do like this pre-made tower. It's quite cool here, and of course you can put a person on it for it to be defended. They can sometimes have a hard time getting up here though. The mesh on it seems a bit off, but you know, it works. But yeah, that is the Kuro Tab, a huge number of items for you to, you know, help you build a more interesting and cool settlement with. So if you'd like to take a look at it for yourself, you can have a look at the link in the description. And as always, folks, thank you for watching, and have a good one.